Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm breaking down all the bowl games of the college bowl season. All 35 bowl games I'm breaking down right here on my YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe to my page here to get all of my daily sports talk videos delivered directly to your inbox. Up next is the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, which will be played out in Arizona between the TCU Horned Frogs and the Michigan State Spartans. A lot of similarities for these two teams. We'll start off with both of them came off of 11-win seasons last year, had high expectations coming into this season, which they fell short of. TCU went 7-5, Michigan State 6-6. Neither of them has won a conference game at home this year, which is pretty interesting. So they should both feel comfortable being on the road in this game and being away from home. They both had their quarterback situation fall short of expectations and thus lead to their disappointing seasons. You look at TCU, their quarterback Casey Paul coming off a 25-touchdown performance last season. Much was expected of him this year. After 4 games in the season, he entered a rehab facility for some alcohol problems. Freshman Trayvon Boykin took over for him. Not that Boykin's a bad quarterback. It's always a step down when you go from a veteran quarterback who had 25 touchdowns the year before to a freshman quarterback now starting. And for Michigan State, if you remember, Michigan State earlier this season, their game against Notre Dame was actually 4.5-point favorites. Looking back on that now, it's pretty startling, but you have to remember, much more was expected of quarterback Andrew Maxwell. They had Kirk Cousins graduate, and now you know Kirk Cousins is RG3's backup with the Redskins. Maxwell took over. Much more was expected of him because everything around Maxwell is sort of set up to win now, whether it's Le'Veon Bell at running back or a stout defense that took advantage of the fact that the Big Ten was a little bit down this year, but nonetheless a defense that has looked good in spots and was certainly good enough, I feel, to win the Big Ten this year if they had a good quarterback. So a lot of similarities between these two teams. Again, for Michigan State, the guy you want to watch out for is Le'Veon Bell. He's had like 570 yards in his last 3 games. He had a big game in Michigan State's last regular season game against Minnesota, a game they needed to win to become bowl eligible. So definitely watch it. You'll see Michigan State try to get Bell involved very early in this game and often, and try to really eat up a lot of clock and win this game with their defense. I do like both of these coaches, and Gary Patterson and Mark D'Antonio. These are both guys that I think have similar styles. Run the ball, take the shot down the field with the passing game if you have a quarterback and you have good weapons. And other than that, play good defense and play tough. So again, I think there's a lot of similarities between how these programs are run, how their seasons have sort of evolved this year. So when I saw this matchup on the bowl schedule, I was like, wow, that's a pretty good matchup of 2 evenly matched teams that their programs are run similarly. There was some rumors that Gary Patterson could be on the move this offseason here, possibly looking to take another job because of maybe all the off-field problems TCU had, most notably with Paul Hall. But Gary Patterson has built this thing at TCU, and it looks like he's going to stay there now, obviously into next season. So definitely good news for those of you in Horned Frog Nation there. As far as this game goes, I look for you to see an entirely different Trayvon Boykin. I think what happened is, you have a freshman quarterback inserted in the middle of the season. And when that happens, you have game plans to get ready for, you have opponents to prepare for, and you don't really have time to really develop someone, I think, like Boykin has probably gotten developed here in the last month of practices leading up to this game. I think you'll see Andrew Maxwell a little bit improved. I just don't know if Maxwell is really that good to begin with. And I think when you have a back like Le'Veon Bell, the game plan is going to be developed around him no matter how much Maxwell has improved with this last month of practices. And I look for TCU to do enough to sort of stymie Bell, much like they did in their win against Texas. Texas is another team with a bunch of talented running backs and a questionable quarterback situation. And that was really TCU's sort of signature win of the season, beating Texas. And I look for a similar performance out of TCU. I love Gary Patterson in these bowl games, getting prepared and getting his team ready to play. For these two teams, it's sort of like a brand new season. Let's try to end the season on a high note and come out ready to go next year. How does Michigan State respond in this game? I know they had visions on the Rose Bowl. They're one of the Big Ten favorites this year. So how do they come out? I like TCU to come out and play hard. Again, I like the improved performance out of Boykin, and I like their defense to do enough against Michigan State, which I feel is more one-dimensional than the TCU offense. And that's saying a lot because TCU hasn't really been great passing the ball this year either. But I like TCU -2 here in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl against Michigan State. Be sure to check out my other previews here. Subscribe to my page. And again, TCU -2 here over Michigan State in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl. Thanks for listening to my video here, guys. And as always, you can catch me on Twitter as well, @SNewsAnalysis. Thanks, guys.